He said, what?
We control your bodies. Guess what? Guys win again, okay? Men win again. And yes, we control your bodies. Your body, our choice.
Hello. Welcome back to JS Candid. And we are going to be looking into the mindset of Nick Fuentes today. This is going to be a little bit of an FAFO video, F around and find out video. But I think Nick Fuentes is a very interesting character, and I think he's one that we need to explore. And so there's some news that has come out about Nick Fuentes in the last few days that he was arrested and he is facing battery charges for pepper spraying a lady who came to his door. And if you don't know who Nick Fuentes is, he is a huge MAGA type person. He is a huge Trump supporter, and he has been on record saying that, and I have a clip for you a little bit into the video. He's gone on record saying that he thinks that ladies shouldn't have any rights, or at least, let me get it right, they should have the same rights as ladies in Saudi Arabia. They should not have the same rights as men. They are below men. They are lesser than. They are not the same in terms of human, being treated as the same caliber as human as other men. And Nick Fuentes is interesting because he has not had any type of relationship with a woman. He has never been with a woman. He is a virgin. He's never been in any type of romantic relationship with a woman at all. And there's two things I want to explore with that. One being, he says that he is voluntarily an incel, which, if you know anything about an incel, that means that you are involuntarily celibate, right? That's what incel means. Involuntarily celibate. So you can't be a voluntary involuntary celibate. That does not work. That does not work. But he's going to try to make that work. And the thing is, I think because he had so many issues, perhaps with relationships or the lack thereof, or getting into a relationship, there's something about him that puts women off. I wonder what that could be. That he has developed a hatred for women. And in my fear series that I'm going through on this channel, I want to make a whole series on fear. And I really think that Nick Fuentes is scared of women. And that's why he hates women. You know, I do not know anything about Nick Fuentes personally. No idea. So this is all speculation on my part. Given what he has said in his interviews or on his social media pages, I feel like he didn't know how to speak to women when he was younger, and so that put them, off, and he didn't have any luck in high school or college, speaking to women or conversing with them, having a relationship with them, anything. And so that developed into resentment because he was unable to do the things that he wanted to do when it came to conversing with women and actually having a relationship with them. And that fear that he had of women turned into resentment and has now turned into hatred. So when you saw that video and he's talking about your body, my choice. He really gets off on that because that is his power. You know, he feels as if because of the election going the way that it did, he feels as if now he has the power over women, and men have the power over women. And that's kind of a dangerous thing, right? Like, men follow that who may also have issues talking to women or conversing with women or getting any type of relationship going with them. They also resent women, and so they fall in line with this too, because it is so much better to, if you're having an inferiority complex, if you are scared of something and you feel inferior to something, it is so much easier to bring them down so that you can overpower them rather than pull yourself up to their level, right? So that's what he is talking about when he's talking about how he wants women to have the same rights as women in Saudi Arabia. So I'm going to play that clip right now.
You want to get married?
Yeah, I want to get married, but more out of necessity of like producing a male heir is really the whole point. You know, at least for me, it's sort of like a pride thing. Like, I want to produce a male heir to take on my name, take on my legacy and all that. And, you know, marriage is sort of pursuant to that goal.
Do you respect women?
Of course.
But you just don't want them to have any rights.
Well, I didn't say that. I
Okay.
didn't say they shouldn't have rights.
But if I'm understanding your question correctly, if you don't want them to vote or drive or have an existence akin to what they would have in, say, Saudi Arabia, you would say that in large part, then they don't really have rights.
Well, I would say probably the ideal is something more like Afghanistan, if I'm being totally honest. Like recent,
so what's the difference
recent
between Afghanistan then and Saudi Arabia?
Like the brutality, I guess, is like a little slightly more brutal. Of course, Taliban rule, not American rule. I'm talking about, you know, recent Afghanistan.
So you want women to have the same treatment as women have under Taliban rule in Afghanistan?
Something approximating that, yeah.
I mean, I dare say, from my understanding of many of your viewpoints, you also promote like the way of interacting with women. And I go, have you been in a relationship with a woman?
No.
So how are you telling other people how to behave towards women when you yourself have not had any actual physical, you know, interaction with them in a romantic capacity, or in fact in any capacity where you know, uphold them in a way that treats them with respect? I mean, if you're out here arguing that women are basically half the value of, well, you know, I'm not going to put words in your mouth, in fact, because that's not right. Mm-hmm. But, you know, if you are looking to some other regimes around the world that do think that women are half the value of a man, I have to question what kind of a person who's had no experience with women is in a position to you know, basically promote these ideas.
Well, I'm having an experience with a woman right now, and I've had lots of experiences with women in my life, not romantically per se, but, you know, I've talked to enough women. I've been in, you know, I've known enough women to know sort of what's going on.
So let me get this straight. He wants them to have rights, but only the rights of women who are under Taliban rule in Afghanistan. Got it. And you wonder why. That goes back to my whole fear thing. Why is he so afraid of women having equal rights to men? He even said earlier in the clip that, yeah, getting married would be, you know, nice, but I would only get married to have a son, and that's it. So what about if you get stuck with daughters? Like, are you gonna make her like have kids until you have a son? Is that what we're doing again? Are we back in the 1700s? Like, what is happening? And then he also said that it would be cool to get married because he wouldn't have to do laundry or cook or wash the dishes or anything. He should speak to my husband. I'm just saying. He is so afraid of women doing something other than traditional norms. But why? Why is that? Why are you so worried about women having equal rights? And I mean, it is fear-based. It is an inferiority complex. And it's important for other men to look at that and not agree with what he's saying, but to realize that it is an inferiority complex. To realize that he is afraid of women because, one, he's afraid of the unknown. He's never been with a woman. He has never experienced love or physical intimacy with a woman, ever. And that is important to think about, because if he doesn't have he has relationship advice for all these men. He tells men how to treat their women. He tells men how to behave with their women, but he doesn't have any experience even doing that. So men, I have a question for you. Why are you taking his advice? He doesn't live in the way that he is telling you to live because he doesn't even have a woman to live it with. And so men who are following his advice, they find that they too become incels because the women that they are trying to get by following his advice don't want to have anything to do with him. And you'll wonder why that is. He's off-putting. He's off-putting to people. He's off-putting to women. And following his advice when it comes to your woman or women that you are trying to get is not going to do you any favors. I do wonder if Nick Fuentes has a hate for women because he doesn't like women. He's not attracted to women. And I wonder if he is attracted to some other type of person and he hates that about himself. Now, if he is, I fight for his right to be happy with who he wants to be happy with. But I feel as if, because he's very right-wing, he's supposed to hold the same values as the right, and they are very much so against the LGBT community. And so I wonder if he is secretly a part of that community and he doesn't want to admit it because he knows that the people on the right will chastise him for it, and he doesn't want to be an enemy of the right by following his true self. But he hates women because, one, he can't get one, and two, he doesn't want one. But that's who he is supposed to marry. That's who he is supposed to. He's being forced to fall into that category of a straight male when maybe he ain't straight. I'm just speculating, but perhaps that is the mindset he's coming from. That he is not straight. He is attracted to people who are not women, and being forced to have a woman is maybe just too much for him, especially since he can't get one. It's so much easier for him to hate women than it is for him to embrace himself and speak his truth as to what and who he really is. But there's something going on there. And I really think that delving into the mindset of someone like Nick Fuentes could really help the male community of this country, because the male community of this country, white males in particular, overwhelmingly voted for a convicted felon liable of SA. That should have been a red line in the sand for a lot of men, but it's not. And we got people out here like Nick Fuentes speaking the quiet parts out loud. You have men who secretly and not secretly agree with that. But then you have to ask those men, what is your problem with women having rights? The only thing that I can think of is an inferiority complex. You don't want women to have rights because they bring the women closer to you. And you want to stay on top. So instead of upping your game, you want to crash them back down. That goes for women, minorities, the LGBT community. That playbook plays out so often that it is very difficult not to see it if you know what to look for. So those are my thoughts on Nick Fuentes. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have a question for me, I am growing this channel, so I welcome all types of questions. Comment down in the comment section. Like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for all the notifications from my channel. I will try to put out a video every day or every other day on the topics of the day and how we can, think about them to get a better understanding of the mindset of a lot of these people and situations that are going on, and how we should use that information to better ourselves as well. So thank you again for joining me. If you have a question for me, you can email me at question4js@gmail.com. The last video I said at google.com, you know what I meant. question4js@gmail. Thanks again for joining, and you guys have an amazing, candid day.